Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What's happening? Hello, boys and girls. It is Friday night, and of course, this is your time for Friday Night Live with myself and my beautiful co-host, Scott Goyette. And boy, do we have a packed show for you guys tonight. We have some brilliant minds. If you guys have been following us forever for our weekly shows, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago where we're going to have some really brilliant people on here to just go deep into the reasons why we get stuck. And I think that's a massive topic right now, because I think a lot of people are feeling stuck right now. They're feeling stuck in the uncertainty of the situations. They're feeling stuck in their own journeys wherever they were before COVID. And so tonight's discussion is going to be really something you want to write notes and take notes with, because the minds we have on here tonight are just absolutely brilliant people. We have Patricia Gagic on here. We have Pamela Aubrey on here. We are supposed to be having Mitzi Purdue on here, and as well myself and Scott Goyette, to bring you this fascinating discussion about what keeps us held back. You know, this is something that we really want to be fired up about, because, you know, as we're even dealing with COVID and dealing with all the other social issues that are going on in the world, the election and everything else, we still have to maintain our focus on ourselves and our future, and to make sure that we're building ourselves up to be stronger. We're building ourselves up to be more resilient. We're building ourselves up to learn more of the things that we need to let go in order to move forward. And that's what tonight's discussion is going to be about, is how we can let go of the things that aren't serving us in order to make those progressive moves forward. And sometimes it's not going to be huge leaps and bounds that we're going to make. You know, sometimes it's just very minute progress that we're going to extend over time. And it's called the compound principle. So you figure if you do something over and over again, you change a belief pattern for a year, just imagine the trajectory of your life is how it's going to change from that point on. And there's nobody other more than I would rather have sharing the stage with me today, Mr. Scott Goyette, Mr. Superman. He's like, they're not going to recognize me if I take my glasses off. Superman, Mr. Scott Goyette. What's up, beautiful?
These are actually brand new. They were running a deal. You buy one, get two free.
Nice. Look very, 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 very scholarly. Here, I'll put on my
This is one of the free pairs.
My little nerdy pair.
Free pair of glasses, right?
My nerdy pair. Or I can put on my camping pair. This is my son did my camping pair. So
oh wow. Yeah, they changed those by yanking off one of the arms.
Yeah, well, he stepped on it. He just like, look, Daddy, crunch. And I'm like,
thanks.
What, you little shit?
That's why they have buy two, get one free, because we have kids in the world. They're doing it for us.
Hey, man, happy Friday night. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
I got to make sure this is my other one. This is one that says, I drink and know things.
Oh, nice.
My other one says, kick-ass unstoppable. So, yeah. So what's going on?
Life is good, man. It's you know, we think the last time we were talking on Friday, I was saying how time just seems so warped, you know, like things go so fast. I'm seeing the same kind of thing, but I'm seeing it both good and I shouldn't say good and bad. I'm seeing it both short and long. Today, I feel like so many things got done. You know, I woke up, 2 podcast interviews, talked to a lot of other people, had a few appointments, got a lot of stuff done, got 3 pairs of glasses for the price of 1. So it's a big day for me.
It's a big day for you. Yeah. And the spray worked.
You know, and the spray worked too.
That's our secret little joke for people. Is like, yeah, our
spray work.
Oh, I got to go over here and look at the comments. Geez, I've already been just fucking thinking about other shit.
People know about the spray already.
Yeah, Serena, what's up? Cindy, what's up? Good evening, Glenda. Hey, thank you guys so much for being here. And there's one thing that I didn't get a chance to say before I brought you on, Scott, and I know you'll agree with this, is our hearts go out to everybody here, at least in California, that are having the wildfires that are going on. We have our brother Thomas up in Santa Cruz area who's sending us pictures via Facebook. Just horrific. I mean, I get chills just thinking about, you know, because we just had, I mean, what was it? It wasn't last week because I was doing it from the campground, but the week before we had Scott Marshall on talking about the Woolsey fire. So it's really timely and very, I mean, God, I just get chills thinking about, you know, what goes on during this time of the year here, especially in California with the wildfires. Do you guys have a lot of wildfires out in Texas?
You know, it's interesting. We have a piece of land at Horseshoe Bay, and that's just west of us, about an hour and 20 minutes west. And then 45 minutes west where we have our cabin. It's weird because both places that we have, you know, land in a little retreat had forest fires, had like crazy fires. So all of Spicewood literally burnt down a few years back, like intense fires just missed our cabins, and it's purely made of cedar. So if it got to our little neck of the woods, it was just it was like, I mean, a spark would put that thing up. And wow. Then right down the street, it was only about 2 weeks ago, the fire just missed, you know, I think it was within a mile of where, it doesn't matter, it's just land, you know, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter, it does matter. It wouldn't have done anything to our stuff, but it only actually got one house, and they were amazing at stopping it because we had that other forest fire, they were very prepared. And the minute something happens, they're able to jump out and do it. Now, California's a bit different because you've got, between mountains and like Scott was talking about, no one thought it was going to go over the 101 freeway. And for a fire to be so insane that it's going over a freeway, even with all the people ready to receive and defend against that, that's nuts. I was actually just talking to Thomas right before we got on the show.
Really?
He's at the airport watching the planes that are fueling up with whatever it is they put into it's not water, but the fire diffuser or whatever it's called. But he's watching the planes take off to go fight the fires. So he said he wanted to be a part of the blessing and that energy, which is very Thomas.
Yeah. So Thomas, if you're watching, I know if you're not watching right now, but anyways, our hearts go out to you and everybody up there. I've got my friend Jeff Reed up in Santa Cruz. I've got Dawn DeWitt who's up in Santa Cruz. And I'm not even sure if she's the Dawn DeWitt that was on Three's Company. She's a friend of mine. I think she's famous, but I don't even know. I just treat her like, who was it? It was Janet. Yeah. Janet. I think I'm friends with her on Facebook. I don't know. I'm friends with Peter Brady too, and it's not even a big deal.
It is DeWitt though. I do. It's funny. I remember that because I remember being a kid and you'd see it kind of go over. I totally remember that. My wife says that I do the dumbest face when I think I'm funny, and I look just like what's the guy, the Roper, Mr. Roper.
Oh.
Okay, ready? Hold on. Whenever I say something I think I'm funny, I go like that. She says I look like Roper. She goes, oh, you just went straight Roper. I'm like, I kind of want to say
Roper. Roper.
I was like, whatever. No, it's not Roper. It's the other guy, Furley. She's like, you just.
Oh, Furley.
Because Furley does that stupid look. They both do a stupid look.
Roper was Don Knotts, right? Or no? Roper was the first guy.
Don
Knotts was Furley.
Yeah. So was it Don Knotts?
Chime in, people. Come on in the comment section. We're talking about serious shit here. Who in the? No. Hey, by the way, we have some beautiful people here with us tonight. We have Patricia Gagic. Patricia, how are you?
Hey, it's really good.
Good
to see you. Happy to be here.
And then we have Gagic, but it's Gagic.
We have our beautiful co-host and an amazing spirit, Pamela Aubrey. Pamela, how are you?
Fantastic, thank you. Wonderful to be here.
Do you have your happy hour cocktail with you?
Oh, wow.
Is that a bottle of wine?
No, that's a machine actually. That makes drinks. I think.
Right, yeah.
Does it?
That'd be convenient.
People, I'm assuming Mitzi is otherwise detained for a minute, but anyways, we'll just go ahead and get started. And by the way, thank you guys all for being here. Obviously, Scott and I really appreciate you guys spending your time with us, both here, you guys, Pamela and Patricia, and everybody, our amazing fan base, I guess what you call it. I don't even know what to call it. I hate followers, I hate fans, I hate family. Yes, our family is here with us tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. Look, even Pamela's here in the comments. How you doing, Pamela?
Great, thanks.
You got somebody doing the social media on the side?
I know, it's like multi-personalities, right?
I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So, so the topic of tonight's discussion is 4 brilliant minds, and what did I say? 5 brilliant minds, and 1 dynamic conversation. It's amazing. I can talk until I fucking press record, and then I start going blah 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 blah. Scott and I were just talking for like 45 minutes, and I was totally fine. And I hit record, and it's like,
we sounded so smart when it was just me and you. We're talking about meditation and the depth of the universe, and then we press record.
We're like Roper and Furley.
Yeah, we're going full Furley.
Yes, tribe. Yes, Cindy, you are definitely our tribe. Cindy is going to be coming out here to Southern California, and Pam's going to be coming out here, and Patricia's going to be coming out here, and we're going to go parasailing.
Cindy said she was paying for it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think she said so too.
She said something like she wanted to take you parasailing, I think.
Yeah, that was yesterday. And Serena's going to have to come out here. What's the people? Oh, Chad Papes here. What's up, Chad?
Hey, Chad. How are you, brother?
My brother from another mother here from Irvine, the real estate connoisseur extraordinaire. Tina Johnson Greeley getting that shirt made. Okay, that doesn't apply to anything we're talking about here. Hello. Ellie Nicole, hello, beautiful people. How are you, Ellie? Thank you so much for being here. So anyways, let's talk about this. Let's talk about really how we can impact the viewers tonight and the listeners today about the ways that they can get out of their own way and ways they can get unstuck with, like, really just determining what gets us stuck in our own beliefs. What do you guys think about that? What gets us stuck in our own beliefs that prevents us from really moving forward? And I'll lead off a little bit. We were talking last night. been talking a little bit this week about myself and my belief systems of feeling guilt and feeling awkward about my transition in life right now, going from a corporate career to everything else. So I've got these feelings of guilt. I've got this anxiety that's going on. So I'm trying to get out of the way of that feeling of guilt of not producing and being okay with being still. So I know once I go through that, I'll feel a lot better. But talk to us each individually, what you guys think is one of the primary reasons of why we get stuck in our own old beliefs. Anybody?
Where to start?
Yeah, where to
Pamela, you
start? All
Yeah,
right, I'll start. Oh,
Okay, yes, please do, Patricia.
so I think, the really super cool thing is, as a human being, we have deliberate choice. Oh, hi, Serena. And on the basis that as, having the choice, it dictates the direction that things are going to spin. So, it feels like if you have a bond between your mind and your emotions and your body, everything is going to, at some point in time, present itself as exactly who you are in that moment. And from that point on, that's where you start making your choices.
Can you give us an example of something from your own personal experience in your journey that where that hit for you?
Yeah, so for sure. A really odd one. It was when I was in France and I was super, super determined that I was going to have a mentor, and it had to be this world famous Dragan Dragic. And the very, very second that I knew this was going to happen, I went into like a converted brain. I was just like your recorder. As soon as you hit record, your brain goes dead. And every emotion I had, all the confidence in the world I had, it just like, it was evaporated. And I stood in front of this man, and as amazing and as gentle and as, auspicious as it was, my whole entire being went into massive intimidation. And yet I was really everywhere else in my world. I was successful. I thought, I've done really well for myself. I'm here. I've done this. And he really took me to a place of zero. And it was in that moment that I said, okay, whatever it is that kicks in your brain, you say, no, I'm not going to let that defeat me. I'm here. I've arrived. It's my decision to be here. The gift was present, and I had to be mindful that even though those old, nasty monkey brain things were going on in my head, I had to get rid of them and say, I'm meant to be here. I was supposed to be here. I am supposed to have the courage to be brave, to present myself, and it's equanimity. And the minute you start thinking about equanimity, then it loosens those shackles on your head, on the brain, and you say, okay, now I'll listen. And the minute you turn into that person who's going to listen, you feel better, and you start making better choices, and you go for it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
100% sense. And I think that Pam has something to add. I can feel it.
Yeah.
How do you know me, Scott?
You guys only talked like 17 times this week.
I know. Right?
Yeah, it's like the 13th time we talked today. I'm feeling kind of intuitive.
I know. We're practically one. Wait a minute. No.
We are all one.
We're all one.
Group hug.
Group hug.
Virtual group hug and a beer.
Yeah, no, I my exact thought was, that it starts with the awareness. I mean, I think that certainly for me, but I think it's true for all of us, is, coming into an awareness of what we're experiencing or where we are, and what does that really mean, and to be able to just be with that. And, sometimes it's just that. Sometimes it's just coming to the awareness and being with it for a little bit. Other times, it requires a little bit more exploration, and maybe there's some things we need to uncover around it. But I feel like when we come to the awareness of something, then all of a sudden it creates this sort of like two paths in the woods, right? And then we have the decision to choose which path we will take. Does that make sense?
You always make sense.
Makes absolute sense. Sorry, I'm multitasking. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to work with our other guest. But yes.
I was gonna say, so I'm like a solo. Okay. Solo act all of a sudden.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, when you're in a panel like this, you just keep talking if the host freezes or you're on. Those are the rules. I'm trying to find out where Mitzi is, because Mitzi was excited to be here, and I hope she's okay.
I was like, should I start quoting the poem? I'm not sure how far I should go with this.
You can go as far as you want. Look at Ellie already said. Look at so deep, Patricia. Yes, awesome. Chad talks about complacency, getting unstuck. Groupthink is dangerous. What do you think, Mr. Goyette?
Oh, I don't have any thoughts.
Not at all.
We know better than that.
All right, on to the next question. Did you like Furley or Roper better?
What?
I said, did you like Furley or Roper better? No. What are some beliefs that you think that cause people to get stuck?
So, I think you guys have nailed a lot of it. I think one of the biggest things that we do get stuck in, and Patricia really tapped into it, and she was starting with it, is that frozenness that somebody else is better than us. And, we go back and beat up the same things again and again. And when you extend the sense of self and you realize that person was nothing more than using the L model of love, when I listen to my intuitive self, that angel is going to show up in service to help me find my brilliance. Pamela and I just talked about this today in an interview that you guys will hear on a podcast with her in a few weeks. But that person, and I don't want to try to say his name, but it was like, there's something to do with dragons and Drovich. Is that close? What was his name, Patricia? It was something. But that person's name, that gentleman that she was, working with, I mean, that's an angel that's sent to her with great intention that you actually, brought to you in service. Like, that angel showed up for you. And I think the fear is that we're sitting in a conscious mind and we don't go into the superconscious mind that was literally delivering that to us. So here's what gets you stuck. And, not to keep beating it down, but Chris and I are starting a program in a few weeks going through this. We have multiple senses. So we've got listen, observe, voice, empathize, all those senses that we have that we connect to the universe, so we connect to the world. We live in our conscious mind. Our conscious mind says, oh my God, this person's amazing. When we see celebrities or politicians or even somebody we just deem smarter or somebody prettier or whatever it is, we freak out and we freeze. That conscious mind is such a small component of our existence and our human being. But the minute, and Chris and I were talking about this before we got on in meditation, the minute we clear out the distortions in our subconscious and directly attach to the superconscious mind, aka God or universe, there is no fear. And so we always come back to the same stuff. Once we build from a place of love and we eliminate fear, and I shouldn't even say eliminate fear, utilize fear as a stepping stone, as an opportunity to leap from it, foundation. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing more than love. And I know that you know that, Patricia. I know you know that, Pam. You know that, Chris. We're all just waking up to that, and we're doing it together because we are all one. And the extension of our tribe, aka family, all of us, we're all one. So let's keep figuring that out. What else do you guys have? Again, I think first and foremost, we've got to figure out how to step into that oneness and eliminate those fears and, find love. But what's after that? What can we share with everybody here? What do they need to know?
So the conditioned mind, the conditioned ideas are the perceptions that we evolve around with every thought that we have. And I guess it's like saying to somebody, and just before we talk about meditation, it's asking yourself just to pause, just simply pause. And I know it's probably one of the hardest things for people to realize that they have the actual ability, it's the gift that we all have. But, look at all the people who are entering into, legal battles, or they're in negotiations and they're just wanting to talk over each other and get their point across, and because they don't think they're going to win. And yet oftentimes, as Pamela, I know you know this, we reveal so much by watching and observing and staying in that heightened sense of awareness. And the minute that you do that and you put yourself on pause, you just open up a plethora of opportunity, and you pay attention and you listen and you see and observe exactly what you're saying. And all of those they'll allow you to enter into the place where those good choices are going to be made. And you have, you find your courage, you find your hero, you find your bravery, and you allow yourself not to step on your own toes.
Yeah. We just talked about this the other day on Pam's show. We were talking about the state of being versus the state of doing. And that's really what it is. When you step back into that sense of being versus doing, that's the exact same thing. That's that pause. And in that pause comes that connection to source. And that's where the brilliance and the potential fulfillment lies versus accomplishment. And we find that fulfillment in being. So it's beautiful, Patricia. It's right on point. Right on point.
Absolutely. And our fellow sister says, fear is panic and anxiety about not being able to be fully you as you are stuck in your thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a poster child for that stuff. We were just talking about that, Scott, like being stuck in our thoughts and that round robin that we go through, that vicious circle we go through. Yeah. She says fear, paralyzing possibility. Exactly. And Serena knows that. I mean, Serena is the poster child for, oh, wow, I think I'm going to go do this, and jumps into it and like gives it everything she's got, like massive amounts of energy. Ellie says, I think people are stuck with intuition. I think people be stuck with intuition.
Explain that one.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, what's up, Mark? Good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. Years of listening and observing will create peace of mind. I don't know about that, because I've been listening and observing, and I'm 51 years old, and my brain, like we were talking before, Scott and I, it was funny because I'm ADHD, like clinically diagnosed. Like, you follow me around, I'm like, brr, 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 and I've gotten better at it. But at the same time, it's like, how do you create that peace of mind in a world that's got so much chatter? I mean, we're literally, our attention span used to be like, I think 8 seconds. Now it's down to 3 seconds. I mean, it's crazy. How do we calm that monkey brain? I mean, I think you talked about it before. And also I want to touch a little bit about on what you said, Patricia. I think it's fascinating when you said intimidation. I haven't used that word. I haven't heard that word in a while, but I think that's a great word to think about, in that people today might be intimidated about, confronting their spouse or somebody that they're living with. They're intimidated about confronting a friend that they don't agree with. They're intimidated. They don't feel that confidence. I'm just interested to see what you guys think about those thoughts.
We have loyalty. That's one of our problems too. Like, we're loyal to our families. We're loyal to our friends. So we always have that benchmark of, I really don't want to hurt their feelings. And if you are in their best interest and you're willing to walk away, or you realize that, you might lose at the end, I still will put a twist on this with karma. Karma ripens. So at some point in time, I think you will have to learn that as much as you've wanted to hang on to something, or you walk into a situation that you really feel, you want to get that, point across, I don't know, sometimes karma just ripens, and you have to say, I've done the best I can, and I'm willing to sacrifice that I may not have this person in my life, or they may not be my friend, they may not be my husband or wife, but it's just having that courage and bravery to know what's best for yourself. So the intuition part, I have to say, I wholeheartedly believe, like, we are our mind, our body, our spirit. So of course our intuition is heightened. And the minute that you step into, that awareness, and you start looking out for yourself, because if you look out for yourself, you're going to do better for other people. And eventually those other people that you want to have that, maybe a little bit of a confrontation, they'll step away, and eventually they will feel into what happened. And if they value you, or they recognize that they can return in good grace, and you leave that door open, it might happen. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Pamela, I see you dancing over there.
Yeah, it really is beautiful and empowering. I think that a lot of times we don't really understand our power. We don't really claim our power. And, we really kind of, in a way, buy into the illusion that we're stuck, because we actually are never really stuck, right? We always have a choice. And so I love what you were just saying, Patricia, because it's so true. It's coming back to that place within ourselves, right, where we acknowledge that we have the power to make the choices that we need to make, and to have, some belief in ourselves, but also then to be willing to step into those uncomfortable places and to do things we haven't yet.
So Pamela, one of the things that I really feel people do is they act in desperation.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't make good choices in that moment of desperation. Whatever it is you think you're going to lose, or you're on the other side of, I have to win, I have to win, I have to win at all costs. And in the end, you know, it's just like winning a lottery and you don't know what to do with the money, you're going to lose it.
100%.
Absolutely.
How does that feel for you, Scott? Because I know you've always been a striver. You've admitted saying, I've always been competitive. I always wanted to be the best. I'm always going to be how does that feel for you does that process with you on your journey that you've been on?
Oh yeah, no, you guys are so right on point. And I think, you know, I love just rephrasing what each of us says, because I think it's important for people to hear it in the way they can process. But at the end of the day, we've been built. And when I say built, you know, identities have been constructed by those around us. And we have had that built from, you know, people other than ourselves. And in that build out, I think that what's happened is many of us have essentially lost who we really are. We've lost that connection to source. Yeah. And in losing that connection to source, we'll never really find our brilliance. Because think of a traditional educational system. We're taught to compete and we're taught to build everything, you know, Scott versus the world. Scott will be a great athlete. Scott will be a great student and be A, B, C, D, whatever. When we're always looking there's some, you know, culmination point. It's not the journey, it's the destination. When we keep looking like, once I'm here, everything's going to be great. First and foremost, we're trying to achieve something that's dictated by somebody else. So it's not our brilliance. They don't know what our brilliance is. And second, it's not really allowing the world to flourish. So right now we can sit here and we can, you know, we're probably better than many at it, but we can look around and say, Chris, I can find your brilliance, you know, from communicating with you. You're somebody who's going to, you know, you say it, you know, there's no excuses. You're going to go support others. You're always calling on people. You're making sure in service of people. You know, Pamela is extremely intuitive. You know, she's always trying to figure out, you know, how can I serve, you know, her things that hurt her as a kid. She wants to make sure that, you know, she's helping others. Patricia, I mean, is insanely cerebral. You know, you listen to her speak, it's easy to see that, like, wow, you can take science and art and all these things and integrate them and really put this stuff together. So we're on track. I don't know that we're perfectly there, but that's part of the journey. I want to make sure that other people can do that, is step outside the traditional educational learning environment and seek their brilliance. So look deep within and be excited and find that brilliance, because once you have that gift, you know, the present, which we find in presence, once you have that and you're delivering that to the universe, the whole world lightens up if we all do that simultaneously. And unfortunately, the collective isn't set up to allow that to happen. So individually, we have more power than we've ever realized. And I want people to continue to buy into that. And, you know, this is another thing that Chris and I will be teaching in our coaching program, but I want people to start to look deep within and know that you are nothing, you are everything. You are an extension of source with a brilliance beyond understanding. And it's that simple. You know, we always get complex. Again, it literally is that simple. So
Glenda, and thank you, Scott, for paraphrasing that. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You're a great listener and a great friend. Thank you so much for that. Glenda says, I have a problem confronting people in fear. Yeah, I mean, that is something that a lot of people do struggle with, is confrontation and be able to stand up for yourself. And I think it goes back to what you were saying before, Patricia, and we've said it a lot, obviously, with Go Love, is the fact that, you know, I'm trying to figure out, like, really what is, like, we got Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We have Coach, forgetting his name at the moment, Coach with the pyramid.
Maslow, who else is there? With
Coach Wooden.
Yeah.
So we've got these different models for what are the components of what we need in life. And for me, trying to figure out my own pyramid or my reverse pyramid, I think I always go back to that self-love standpoint, you know. And for Glenda, what you're saying, I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. You know, it's about having that authentic childlike love for yourself. I mean, I know my son loves and appreciates himself. He doesn't have any doubts about himself. He has that pureness about him. So how do we get people to be able to have that self-love for themselves after so many years of emotional abuse that has not only gone on externally, but more importantly has gone on internally? I mean, we could do something. I've done stupid stuff all my life. I could look back over the course of my life and say, okay, there's 25 things I've done stupid. And, you know, I always apologize. I think there's 3 parts to an apology. I'm sorry. It was my fault. What can I do to make it better? But what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about how we can overcome some of that fear, have some more self-love, and be able to stand up to those situations like Glenda's asking?
Do you want to go for it, Pamela?
Yeah, no, I was waiting on you guys. Sorry.
So I think confrontation, not confrontation, contentment. I think that it has to start that you are living in your personal state of contentment. No matter what's happened to you, you have to wake up the next, second, your next thought, and it has to become comfortable for yourself and you accept. So, I did this program at the University of Toronto. We did applied mindfulness and transformative mindfulness. I spent quite a bit of time sorting through all of the logistics of what other people have brought to the table. And the mindfulness piece comes out really, really clear. And after you have that state of, that heightened sense of, I'm going to be non-judgmental, I'm going to accept what's happening in this moment, and I am going to allow myself to realize that the end of the day, it could be the end of the day. So the appreciation that we bring and the gratitude piece into the life that we want to, survive in, it has to have a balance. And I think that when we learn the respect that we need for ourselves, then we will start to deem how we view other people, how we accept other pieces of information, and where we are going to execute it on a daily basis. And, if you're always wishing that you had this in your hand and you're always believing, I deserve that, unless you're going to go into the Olympics or you're going to have a major, this is the ultimate destiny for your life. Most people don't have that. Everyone says, well, I'm going to go to school. I might go to graduate school. I'm going to get married. I'm going to have children, and then eventually have my career. And you have this all plotted out. And the interruptions and hiccups that happen during that period of time are different for people who have an ultimate goal in life. So, and I do know some of the Olympians and look at, people like Tiger Woods, focus. And if you could convert what they do into just that other side of the world, that regular life, where you started to see that having the child and looking after the child and taking care of the child. And again, Christopher, your life is exactly that. There was the ability and the inability, but I think it's going to take it takes a lot of courage, but it has to start with that contentment piece inside. And it means for some people, a lot of rewiring.
Massive. Beautiful.
That's the big secret right there, is the rewiring. And
Yeah.
and it's the unlearning process. And I think Pam's got something out. I can feel it, but I want everybody to really think about that piece, that just because you've built a foundation or you've learned something doesn't mean that that's truth. And there's nothing wrong with rebuilding your identity or your foundation. In fact, that is the most manly, the most womanly, the most human, the most beautiful, the most incredible thing an adult can do, because it's a gift to both yourself, it's a gift to your legacy, it's a gift to your offspring and everyone around you. And I would highly recommend doing that. Pam, what do you got? You got something good?
And I love the way both of you express this, because my kind of summarization for what the two of you said is that I think part of it is just waking up to realize that a lot of what we've been taught is just pure crap. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just crap.
Somebody else's stuff.
Yeah, it's someone else's stuff. And it's okay to go, that was crap. I just got some crap, and I can do better than this.
Yeah.
I can move beyond this. I can grow beyond this. Just because someone else accepted that for themselves doesn't mean I have to accept that. Just because, our society has accepted whatever up to this point doesn't mean we have to keep accepting it. That we are meant to expand. We are meant to grow. That's why we're here.
And take people with us.
Yes, exactly. To see all that we can become individually and collectively.
But Pam, I mean, boys will be boys. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
That's exactly what I'm saying. A lot of what we have been taught is crap.
And obviously, I'm massively intentionally triggering you guys because I'm on the same team as you. And when I hear those ignorant comments, boys will be boys, or it's just the way it is, or that's just the way humans are. Like when I hear the limitations and comments like that and say humanity has always been that way, it's just how it is. What I hear is, wow, you do not know you are creator. And what I hear is I'm going to need to just continue to plant these seeds of love over fear and just beat them down. Because when I see something in humanity that has not been what it should be to date yet, I see just a beautiful opportunity to change and growth. I see nothing in permanence at all.
Yeah.
It blows me away. It literally blows me away when somebody says that's just the way it is. I mean, I'll be honest with you,
Chris. Now, that's what I say. I say up until now. That's the way it's been up until now. How is that working for you? You guys know me. I'm all about asking questions. That up until now, what is it? What would life feel like if you actually took control and responsibility for your own fucking life and made some choices and some decisions to move yourself forward outside of your comfort zone? I mean, that's what we're kind of saying here is the fact that you have to have balls. You have to be angry enough. You have to be pissed off enough. That's why I talk about anger and frustration is like one of the greatest motivators, but so many people run away from that in fear. Like, oh, I don't want to deal with that emotion. Samuel said something here that was really great. I want to capture this. Samuel says, people afraid to be their whole authentic self, worry what others think too much. We are only in competition with ourselves. Samuel, that's awesome. I mean, you always show up with great observations. So thank you. I wanted to acknowledge you big time because you come on these shows and you have some great contributions. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing I've struggled with my whole life. I've always been, I literally tell this story and people laugh at me because I had 2 Facebook profiles for probably 5 years. I had Good Chris, who didn't swear, who was all super positive. And then I had me. Bad, I call it bad. I had said Good Chris, bad. I had 2 different profile pictures, and I wanted to do a test because everybody said, "Oh, don't swear, don't be you and push personal development. You have to do all this other stuff." And so I literally carried on 2 personas, and I built both of them up equally. It's so funny. I was adding friends on one, and I was like, "Okay, I can't continue to post on both of these anymore. This is ridiculous." And I remember, Patricia, it was at one of the masterminds where I was like, okay, Chris, you got to stop doing this other suit and tie thing. You got to do your kick-ass thing. You got to be going for this and just own it and be who you are. So I think what Samuel's saying is so massively important that if we're not being congruently and authentically who we are as our child source, as our creator and everything else you guys talk about, then how can we really move forward? We're always going to be in our own mind, in our own way with our old beliefs and our old patterns and our own hiccups. I mean, that's one of the things that I really want to get across today is to try to help people to get out of that situation. And even Cindy says, choices, right, Pamela? My can't do this morning was an eye-opener. Thought I had it together, but lull entered, so I had to refocus to get in touch with my inner soul and earth and creator. Yes, but that's the beautiful thing. Cindy, you wouldn't have said that 3 months ago. So you're learning, you're growing, you're constantly expanding. That's the thing that we're trying to share with you guys today is that it doesn't take massive change overnight. It just says, okay, you know what? I'm going to wake up in the morning and say, I love myself. I'm going to do things today that are congruent with me supporting myself. I'm not going to tell myself 1,000 times a day, I'm an idiot. I'm stupid. I'll never remember that. I'll never be anything. I mean, that's so massive. So yeah. And even Ellie says, this is all true. Everyone is lost of communication skills. It's like when people say words, they don't deliver in actions. Yeah. I mean, you have to. If you say something like Scott and I were just talking about this morning or a little bit ago, he's like, if I start a book, I have to finish reading it.
Yeah. I have a finishing addiction, and it might be a good thing or a bad thing, but I can't start something if it's too big because I'll disappear for 2 days, like having to go through it. It's just.
Yeah, we got some great comments. Chad says, every step is victory. I was going to go for it.
Go ahead.
Pam's got it.
No, it just kind of struck me, sometimes we have this idea too, that if we're in a place where we do feel stuck, even if we're not stuck, let's just, let's go with we're in the feeling of it, that it's okay just to be there, just to hang out in that feeling for a while, and not try to change it. But, then, after you've been there for a little while and you've kind of had the opportunity to just sit with it, then you can kind of move to that place of, okay, so what's next? Am I going to stay here a while? Like, how long am I really going to stay here? right?
Yeah.
And just
What's your gauge?
deal with it, talk to it, explore it.
What's your gauge there? Because I'm sure people are listening right now thinking to themselves like, yeah, I feel stuck a lot and I don't know how to move through it. What's your gauge and when do you step out of that? Because maybe people are addicted to the comfort of being stuck. Is there a fast track?
I think sometimes, absolutely, I agree. And it could be, you know, it might not just be that they're addicted to feeling stuck. Maybe it's they're addicted to negative thoughts or negative feelings,
Sure.
you know, in general. And so just being able to be in that place and say, this is what this is. Just acknowledge it and sit with it for a minute and be honest, you know, with yourself. Like, this is what this is, and I'm doing this because it makes me feel better. Why does this negative feeling, why is staying with this somehow making me feel better?
And what is it?
Is that
what
really
is
a pattern that I want? Is that really how I want my life to operate? And explore that, right?
But what does that look like? Let's play with that, because there's a lot of people I know. I mean, I'm thinking of like half the people I speak to, they're saying the same thing. They sit in darkness, they sit in stuckness, they sit in victimhood, and they say, I can't. Let's talk about this a little more deeply.
But it goes back to this one big, huge point that she's making, and that's risk. The big word. And I mean, I nail it all the time because I did this Inspired to be Rewired, and I did the 5 radical degrees, mastering the 5 radical degrees of life. And the first one is risk. Because the very second you start sitting there in that information, should I or shouldn't I, and this might happen, that might happen, it's all risk. So that gauging has to determine, you have to figure out, like, am I a really high risk taker? Or am I just going to sit in my little comfort zone with my boots on and you know, wait for somebody else to do it or something else to happen? Or do you want to really jump in? How bad do you want it? And the other part of that whole big equation, it's delight. Are you happy? Do you want to delight in the outcome? You know, you get out of bed, you put your feet on the ground. Is the first thing that you think in your mind, oh, wow, I'm going to really have a fight today. I'm going to be angry. I want to be so miserable. I can't even stand myself. I can't wait until, or do you say, wow, I really hope this just is a perky, great little day. You know, you can walk out that door, and the first car that goes by, if you're standing on the corner waiting for a bus, and the guy, it's rained and there's a puddle and you've had the greatest morning ever, and the guy drives by and he splashes you and you are completely covered. You're soaking wet. Okay, so maybe you should be a little bit whatever, but it's these conditions and all the conditions around us that we have to be super, super aware of, that cause and effect.
Yeah,
so how do we,
and remember too that we can choose the contrast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one to say that we can't, and for that matter, if we want to choose it, then choose it. That just means that you haven't yet realized that suffering isn't necessary.
Cessation of suffering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's an interesting point, because Ellie says, isn't it trauma? Trauma
It can be
related to our childhood. Yeah. Right. You know, something significant happens to us when we're 4 years old, and that stunts us for the rest of our life. We don't go up in front of the class and try to do a math problem anymore. We don't say things out loud anymore. There's some sort of traumatization that happens, like, that makes you feel stupid. I mean, I could sit there and cite so many different stories where I took a chance as a kid and was like, all right, I'm just going to shut up right now. And then I learned to shut up. And then I was like, okay, I'm not talking anymore. And I realized I wasn't myself. Then I started talking. People were like, shut up. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. This is kind of interesting. But I think you guys bring up a great point. And I said it before, it's like, you know, pain is the greatest leverage. And so one of the things as a coach, I really aspire to do is to create pain in people's minds about the future possibilities of regret. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're sitting here today and we're thinking, okay, everything's good, you know, but as we get older, as we realize that the roller coaster ride's going click, 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 click. And we're going, wee, okay, you know, this is as young as I'm ever going to be. You know, I sit there and think about that sometimes. I'm like, this is as young as I'm ever going to be, and all that stuff. But, you know, the realization is that we're going through this journey to continue to grow and to challenge ourselves. And for me, ultimately, it's like, how can I associate enough pain that I'm going to change today versus 10 years from now or 5 years from now? And like Scott and I were talking, and Pam and I talked about this, you know, you have to take that risk. You really do. You have to, like Steve Harvey, I'm going to get $1 for every time I say it, but you have to jump. You have to go embrace that, because that's what it means to be alive. You know, we said it before, we said living versus existing. And then also earlier we said responding versus reacting, So what do you guys think about the fact that people give themselves, an out with their short-term gratifications? Like, oh, well, I don't feel like doing this today, so I'm going to go do that. Why are people so afraid of experiencing uncomfortableness? What do you guys think?
They're attached to it.
Yeah.
Because it makes
it could be a victim, or that's just what they know. But you see, even with the trauma piece, or people really in their childhood having, traumatic situations, as you get older, there's two ways to go. If you become aware and you have the ability and the mindfulness to be able to say, I recognize this has happened and I'd really like to do something about it, then you've already tapped into the fact that you know the difference. But if it is something that has happened to you and you can't get over it, you don't see a way to get over it, or you're really not wired to be able to, you may never be able to get through it in this lifetime. But usually, if you have the ability to recognize the thought and you can analyze that, then you have the ability to seek help. But again, it goes back to that, how much risk do I want? Am I comfortable? And the other part of it is we have this incredible attachment to staying stuck, and then the discomfort around what happens if I even have more discomfort.
Yeah.
You got to take the risk.
It's growth. That's the pendulum right there, is that most people sit there and get to that tipping point like, oh, I should really go jump. I should go do something. And they go, oh, I'm going to go binge watch a season of Netflix. I'm going to go, have an ice cream cone. I'm going to go drink or whatever it is, that I'm going to avoid this stuff. You guys know it as well as I do. It's so depressing to see people that have so much capability and so much adaptability within themselves that they don't even give themselves the opportunity to see that. How can we get people to see things differently from their perspective, not from that victim mindset, but from a victor mindset? Do we have to, one of the things I've been fascinated with, and I've been reading a little bit about it, is creating this ulterior persona. And I don't know if I agree with it or not. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. I'm the same person all the time, so I don't need to do that. But if I was Chris, the meager guy, and I want to be like, okay, I want to be bold. I'm going to call myself Mr. Kickass. And also I'm going to become this character. Do you guys think that there's validity in that, in aspiring to be like putting yourself into a role to get yourself to be more confident? Do you think that's a way to get people out of being stuck?
You don't need to do that. I see people who do that. I don't believe you need to do that. I think we just need to sit there, ride that word need all the way to the bank, because here's the problem that we're facing right now is, so let's keep this real simple. Again, like we always want to make it complex. Let's not add a secondary character into our existence. We are what we are. So it's this simple. Right now, I can say that I need to be a strong man, and I need to be a great husband, and I need to be a breadwinner, and I need to be a powerful dad, and I need to be a super smart teacher. Listen to what stress that just put on me.
Yep. So
it's during COVID. Am I able to make enough money? How am I going to teach virtually? Am I going to be as effective? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? What about this? What about this? I'm going to shine my light as bright as I can, because I know that I am finding my brilliance because I do the work. So all I want to do, my only commitment is I'm going to shine bright. I don't need to do anything. I'm going to shine bright. I'm going to show up every single day. Now, the need to be successful, the need to be a great teacher, the need to be this and that, all those negative emotions that are holding on to me as baggage. Because imagine this: sadness because I'm not a good enough dad, because I didn't do the thing I was supposed to do; anger because my wife doesn't think I was being a good husband; frustration or guilt because I wasn't there to teach my students in person. I'm destroying myself with all that. The minute I just say, I am a perspective point of something far bigger than me in the universe, which is my higher self, aka God, universe, whatever you want to call it. The minute I seek that brilliance with no need attached to it and just live that brilliance, there's no baggage attached. That's it. So hear that loud and clear. That's it.
How do people get there? So in my mind, I like what both of you have said, but I first see what Christopher is saying is it's a bridge. Mm-hmm. If it is a bridge, and you can become an actor, or you can fall into, that persona, that hero, that super character, it it will help you rewire and fuel and give you the confidence and give you, that place where if it's that alter ego where you can survive and thrive.
Sure.
But if that bridge becomes a forever, like Pee Wee Herman or whatever, that's not healthy. But
Yeah.
in the healthy assessment, then once you've learned the techniques of that particular superhero character, you've imparted that knowledge and that comfort and the attachment to that good feeling. So, in a funny way, you realize that and you let it go. And then you become anything and everything that you possibly want to be.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, okay, a better way for me to phrase what I phrased is there's a million ways to the same destination, period. Like we can walk up the mountain a million different ways. And so do any of these things work? Yeah, I mean, anything can work. And I think the fun of life is figuring out your journey is your journey. So you find the way that works best for you. And that may work for somebody super effectively. Again, and this is one of the things that's hard from being a human is, you're literally always looking at things from your perspective. So the perspective that I built out from the brilliance that I built out seems to believe from my perspective that what I'm saying might make more sense. But I also fully agree that somebody else might easily benefit from what you're saying without a question. But I also, being a teacher, I can watch things that have worked and haven't worked. And I know that the more you put on somebody, the one more thing theory will weigh them down. So saying be a character, do this, do this, do this. I'm always trying to take a few things off of their plate. So the way I teach, just from my perspective, is always, let's take this off so we can make it a little bit easier. So I would rather, clarify their senses into the universe, remove some baggage and say, how do you feel now? How do you feel now? How do you feel now? And I think that's the beauty of, if we're all on this journey together, sharing different ways that we can help people find that brilliance. There is one of the things I was saying, and I don't know if we talked about this in the show, Chris, but it was pretty interesting. Let's say that we're all going to the park behind my house, okay? There's a direct path that goes right to the park. It just so happens to go by a snake cave, but it's straight. It's like a half a mile into the park. Or I could go left and go the easy way over the bridge that's really, easy, or I can go to the main street. So let's say we're talking politics right now. If somebody says, let's go to the park, and they say they're going to go to the main street, we're not going to go to the politics. I'm doing an analogy. If they were about to go to the main street, I'd say, that's stupid. That's the long way. That's my first thought. That's stupid. That's the long way. It's not the way to go. And then somebody might say, let's go the safe way, and let's just go on the dirt road that's going to be really quick. We know it's going to take us 8 minutes. And I go, are you serious? Like, there's never snakes in the snake cave. Stop being a baby. Let's just go the straight way. But what if and here's the simple point. They all get me to the park. So,
True.
So I think one of the things that we should all do is, if you're on a path and you hear somebody say something in a show like this, like me or Patricia or Pam or Chris, and we say, oh, I don't think that works. If it's working for you, who cares what we say?
Yeah.
Who cares what we say?
What are your thoughts, Pam?
Well, and I mean, you guys know, I have a slightly different, my energy work influences a lot of my thoughts around some of these things too. And, I can watch someone who's been in therapy for 7 years and go through 3 sessions with them and hear them say, that helped me more. Those 3 sessions helped me more than those 7 years of therapy.
Oh, yeah.
So there, at some point we have to start to awaken to the fact that we are these greater beings. We have been created with this innate, I like to call it innate biotech. Okay. And our bodies are intended to heal themselves. Our minds are intended to heal themselves, our spirits. So we can heal ourselves. It is not difficult. It's just a matter of us unlearning the crap that we've been taught about what wellness is and health is and how we get there, and start to really take ownership of that and open ourselves up to what that really means. Because we're ultimately coming into a time where we don't really have a choice whether we're going to do that or not. If we want to evolve, if we want to remain healthy, if we want to be able to withstand some of the bugs and viruses and things that are coming. We need to be ready for that. And how we get there is we really learn how to take ownership and realize that we have not been told the whole story. And so we're responsible for learning, for ourselves, what's going to work for me, and going out and figuring that out, because no one else is going to do it for us, right?
So true, Pam. And Chad actually chimes in on that. He says, duality is dangerous. I did this. It fucked up my soul. Don't deny your soul. That is so true. Because when I was thinking about, when I was asking you guys that question, immediately in my mind, I was thinking about somebody who hit me up recently about imposter syndrome. And they were like, I feel like I feel like I'm this, and I feel like I'm known for that, but I'm not that. But that's what's made me money, and now I'm afraid of just being who I am. So now I have to be this. Like, people have been reaching out to me this like last 2 months. It's crazy. Like, I just want to be me. How do you just be you? I'm like, it's fucking dangerous. It's crazy. It's risky, but it's beautiful. It's one of the best feelings ever. But to get there, it's like, Scott, you were just saying, you have to go past the snake cave. You have to go jump a ravine that you may have to, but once you get to that other side of that little ravine and you're like, hey, this is who I am. I'm a beautiful person. I have a lot to contribute. I have my fallacies. I have my amazing gifts, and I'm going to go through this life, and I'm going to experience, listen to that, ladies and gentlemen, experience life. We sit in these bubbles, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. We're in social media land. We think we're connected to people. We're not connecting to people. And it's just crazy to me how we think we're going to actually have a life that we're going to look back on and be like, wow, that was fucking amazing. Doesn't everybody want to look back on their life and go, wow, that was amazing. I had some highs, I had some lows, I grew, I'm going out of this world, saying, hell yes, I left my legacy. I left my mark. But again, when I think about that imposter syndrome, that's kind of scary as well. Do you guys have thoughts on that?
It's like an exaggeration in a lot of different ways. We receive so much information, and it's not always, but it's as if there's a misrepresentation of reality because it's in that exaggerated state. So you're consistently trying to find out what is actually the reality, what is really feeling and happening. So, again, going back to your intuition, so even with imposter syndrome, I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I didn't really deserve it. Someone else should have got it. And, it's unfortunate, but that is what you have put your beacon out for, and you are receiving exactly what your energy has asked for.
So a very simple thing to think, and this is the L in the love model, is when we start to more clearly listen to our intuitive self or connect to source, one of the things that shows up, there's always an internal and external component. So when we have the internal component that I'm listening more to source, angels show up. And when I say angels, they're individuals who show up to help me amplify and become my brilliance. So one of the things that I think we forget is we are those angels. So there's a day that I'll be that angel. There's a day you'll be that angel. We're players within our own dynamic. We are angels. So, you listen to anybody, and I think Pam and I had talked about this earlier. When people say that I chose not to commit suicide, or I chose not to shoot up a school, or I chose not to do something crazy, every single time you ask the answer, why did you, decide not to do that? And they starts with someone said, someone did, and one person did one thing. So there's angels all over this world. It's just, do we incorporate that as part of our brilliance? So I think one of the things that we're failing to do, because we are living in these little bubbles, is be the angels to others. Because it's the simplest thing. Just hold the door, say hello, say thank you, say hi, say how are you. If I'm on the phone with somebody, like when I'm walking to Whole Foods, you always know, because I'm like, hey, how are you? Hey, you like that outfit? Oh, cool. What's going on? To a point where people just get off the phone. I'm like, I was just trying to talk to everybody at once. And so the point being is, let's be those angels. I think the minute that we step into the fact that part of our brilliance is going to come in service to others as an angel. And it might be just something simple that one of us said to one of us today. Maybe one of us is having a horrible day and we're thinking something crazy, and somebody said, that was a beautiful comment. And we think, well, it was a beautiful comment. Well, then say it. Say it. Let people know. Let people know.
It's so true.
So simple. Again,
Yeah.
It is simple because this is, I'll just prove a point right now. Yesterday, usually every day I just take my Facebook Messenger and I just scroll like 4 or 5 times and I pick somebody who I've not talked to in a while. And I just send them a message. I'm like, hey, thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. And I did this yesterday with 2 different people. And it was just amazing. People ask me all the time, what can I do? What can I do? I'm like, just reach out to somebody, just say hello. I care about you. That's it. So I sent 19-second messages to 2 different people, and both of those people said, man, I needed to hear that today. I really needed to know that you were behind me. I really needed to know that. You know, we have to lift each other up and build each other up in order to have that confidence. But one of the questions I have for you guys in thinking about this discussion is, how important is it that, and I know the answer to this question pretty obviously, but I think some people struggle with this. How important is it to have the right people in your core circle of influence? I mean, like Stephen Covey, you talked about Stephen Covey before, Scott. I mean, the 5 people you're around the most. You know, when I think about the people I used to hang around with, I was exactly like them. When I hung around the party people, I was a total partier. When I hung around the girl chasing guys, I was a total girl chaser. Now I'm hanging around all you guys. And this is the funny fucking part. This is the funny part. And I'm going to admit this live. You know, my tagline was, and Patricia, you remember this, helping people overcome their self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I thought a lot of this stuff was the fluffy bullshit.
Me too.
So my growth in still being who I am is realizing and recognizing that there's separations. I still have the books right here. I was telling Scott earlier. I mean, if you guys are book readers, read The Surrender Experiment. If you guys don't know where to start with all this shit, read this book by Michael Singer, and read this book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And I guarantee you're going to walk away. I've read those books probably 3 or 4 times. Anytime I'm in a weird place, I go back and I just open the book to a certain spot and I feel like Mickey's talking to me. It's like, Chris, you're in the seat of the observer. You know, you don't have to be all these different emotions. You can be where you're at today. But what do you guys think as far as, wait a minute. Ellie said, right on. Right. One thing I can see someone in life is they can't figure out their purpose. Oh, that's actually a great point. So if you're lost and you're stuck, maybe it is that you don't know where you're going. Talk to us about that, guys. Don't know where you're going, then you're stuck. So how do you get to where you need to be going? I know Scott knows this answer because I'm like huge on this, but what do you guys think?
I think you have to believe. First of all, you have to believe. You have to have the essence of yourself, that there is a path, that there is a destiny, that you have purpose, you have intention, you have motivation, and you know, spend that time to figure out what it is that you like, or what your gifts are and how you can utilize them to make a difference in the world. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, Patricia. I was writing a little note to Scott.
Too many P's. Just sound like my mom when she was trying to figure out who she was talking to. Paul. I mean,
I called you Deb the other day too because I was doing 3-letter friend names and I was like, Pam, Deb, Pam, Deb.
I call my coaching clients both the opposite names. It's crazy, but so Scott,
I love what you were saying, Patricia. I mean, I think, you know, one of the things too that is something that we don't necessarily really think about, but if we are needing an answer to something, we can ask the question of the universe. And I also think that sometimes, you know, we have an idea, like our purpose is attached to some kind of outcome. It's something we're supposed to do in our minds. This is how we envision purpose, right? And the universe's idea of purpose is a lot different than ours. And so I think part of it is asking the question, but then being open to an answer that maybe doesn't fit into the container that we would have created for that. And just to be open to whatever that answer is and be willing to say, am I okay with the idea that this answer that I might get might just be, there's not some great purpose other than for you to sit here and have this conversation with me, to have this interaction with yourself and with the universe.
So if you have the clarity and you've got that clear mind, and you're able then to bring all of those, you know, right mind, right thinking, right speech, all into the right capacity, you know, it's going to make a difference, and then you'll find your path. But I think it's almost like we're avoiding saying this, and I think I feel it, and I think you do too, Pamela. But meditation, I'm sorry, it's so incredibly vital to your existence, because you completely are disallowing yourself to enjoy the true benefits of why you are a human being to begin with. So for all the people who think, it's woo-woo or it's whatever, no. We've just been socialized into a certain way. The people who have lived, I spent a month in Tibet, and the group I was with Lama Glenn Mullen. He's one of the world's leading Tibetologists. And we spent hours and hours walking in meditation. We spent hours in the caves doing meditation. And, the clarity that you receive afterwards when you're trying to discover, something, a thought, you're analyzing it. Everything has much more purity. And I think if at the end of the day of our lives, if we haven't realized that we're here for purification reasons, then we've missed the boat. And meditation is the vehicle that's going to get us there. That's the transforming factor. So
meditation. What do you think about that, Scott?
I want to be the exclamation point on Patricia's remark times 5,000. Because, and I know Pam's saying the same thing, and I love doing this. I love highlighting the beautiful things you guys said, because sometimes, we're listening to a show like this or listening to somebody talk, it needs to be repeated again and again and again. And so I want to share a few very simple things for you guys to think about. First and foremost, if you've never done a meditation at all, go find some very short meditation that's guided, a little 5-minute one on YouTube. Go play with something, go into Insight Time or YouTube, wherever. You just go listen to something that's just a sound, like a gong or birds chirping by the beach, and just sit and just listen. Just get used to just sitting in your own noise and your own thoughts. And we don't need to go deep into, that can be another show of how to do that. Another thing I want to bring up is, Pam, you had a beautiful comment. One of you guys had said something about, I can't see that well, but I think it was Ellie. I think that she had said something about finding your purpose and your why in life. So think of this, to say an outcome, to say like, I want to be a doctor, or I want to, write a book, or I want to be a motivational speaker, speaks to hundreds of thousands, or I want to have 5 kids, or I want to get married. All those outcomes, those are things that die with you. So I'm going to give you a way to live on forever right now. And I think this is some of the best advice I've ever been given. And it was given to me indirectly as I was coaching a client. I had him write his eulogy. Okay. And his eulogy came out, instead of saying, I think that, I want to be a great dad, I want to do this and this and this, things that are very finite. He had verbs. He said, I want to teach. I want to love. I want to serve. I want to laugh. And so imagine this. If you start to pick those things after writing your eulogy that you could do that are actually verbs that are infinite, because that can just live on forever. If you pick those things and you keep polishing up on those, I truly think your why, your brilliance, your purpose will show up. So what are the things that you do that electrify you or wake you up? Are you somebody who loves to laugh, or somebody who loves to teach, or loves to listen? Do those things, do those things, do those things. And what's going to happen is your brilliance, your purpose, your why will show up. And that's what you're born, that's what you're made to do. It's not something specific like be a nurse, be a teacher, be whatever. It's do those things that are verbs. So I truly believe if you guys follow that and try to like find a few verbs that actually are who you are, then you're going to fall right into that seed of purpose or wisdom or the why. And then, in another show, we should talk a little bit more about ways to meditate, but there's no right or wrong way. The one thing I will say is don't try to get anything of it. In other words, don't come in with an attachment. Don't say, I have questions, I want answers, I want this. All you're doing is creating a clear conduit to source. The wisdom of Holy Spirit, of universe, of whatever you call it, is going to start downloading to you. Don't be in a rush. Don't worry about it. Just be. That's it. Again, we're going to say the same things. You're going to get bored listening to us say this, but we're going to say the same thing.
500 different ways if that helps.
We will. We will.
I'm the oddball guy that, when Scott and I were talking about before this call about meditation, it's like, I have tried, and I still try to this day, and literally I can stop my mind for like 30 seconds. And Scott and I were talking about this earlier. It's like, well, if you stop it for 30 seconds, and then you have a rabbit thought or whatever, and then you go back to it, and maybe the next time you do it for 35 seconds, and the next time you have a rabbit, and then you do it for 36 seconds, and then eventually over the period of 6 months, you get to 10 minutes. We were talking about the guy that came to your house. They did it for how many hours? I mean, come on.
It's like 20 hours a day. But to the point of what you just said stop your mind. The goal is there's no stopping the mind. You sit in the chaos of the storm. So with all that noise and all the thoughts that are going on around you, you're sitting there eating an apple and reading a book while the thoughts that you used to attach to are just dancing around you. And that's the fun.
How do you get there? That's the problem I have. And we've talked about that. Pam, what do you think? How do you get, and I love what Pam taught me. Pam taught me also tapping. Like
tapping's beautiful. EFT is fantastic.
So I love the fact that it causes my brain that I can only concentrate on that at the moment. So I'm like, okay, I got to tap and meditate, doing my thing and doing my, doing all the different things you taught me, Pam. What are your thoughts on this? Because so many people struggle with this, and so many people are beautifully enlightened. Like we talk about Mickey Singer. He says, I would go out and meditate for 4 hours and I would hate to go back. And I'm like, and thinking about the guy that you said, Scott, like for me, my brain, you meditate for that long and get shit done.
I would say I definitely did not start as a pro. Okay. Yeah. Like it was so hard for me in the beginning. I think one of the best ways, this is now for me, one of the best ways for me to start is by following my breath. But in the beginning, I couldn't even do that. That's how, it was just so hard for me to get the idea of what I was even trying to do, and I would get distracted by my breath. It was the weirdest thing. And so for me, I had to go to YouTube and I had to just find the stuff that works for me, and so there's a million different ways. Again, there's a million different ways to meditate. And so just find what works for you.
Yeah.
Because everybody's different.
Dabble and play. Try
Ellie says I have a block. Well, get rid of the block, Ellie. Don't get rid of the block.
So I love all of that. And I think there's just one more little piece of this that we need to be encouraged with. And I think, Scott, you're really nailing it there. And that's self-compassion. I think, unless you start having some self-compassion and you take those breaks off of all those other aspects that you think are important, you're really actually being cruel to yourself. So once you seek that refuge into liking yourself and understanding yourself, you will find that source of goodness within, which it is there. Mm-hmm. And then allowing that self-compassion, it's treating yourself with the respect that you actually well deserve and are. And it's also eliminating that sort of fixation on the ego aspect. And when you can start to eliminate some of that, you then become in servitude, not just to yourself, but you become in servitude to other people. And that's, everybody was somebody's mother once. And when you start realizing that, you see the kindness and the happiness in each person before you will see the judgment piece. And I think that solidifies the heart opening, the adamantine particle, that everybody is, in fact, we're all of the same vibration, and we can raise each other's vibration.
So true.
I want people to hear that one piece right there loud and clear. I want people to hear that you literally will. Now, you might not believe this. If you're listening right now and say, there's no way I could see the positive before I see the negative in negative people. Now, hear what I just said. There's no way I could see the positive first in negative people. What I'm showing you there is how we speak. We define those people as negative right away. We're defining we're othering. So watch what Patricia said, because she's so on point. Self, tribe, slightly bigger extension to my church, to this other group, to country, to humans, whatever. Once we extend that sense of self and we're not othering, we're not saying there's no way I could see the good in that group, and we see every single individual as a human being or spirit having a human experience, and we see that connection. once we can actually, because we can get to that heart space, that heart connection, we're clogged up here so much. And we're so close, guys. We're so close. You know, you might say, there's no way I could ever do that. Those people are bad people. They've hurt people. Their forefathers did this. They're evil. Listen, if you say they're evil or if you say they're beautiful, you're right. Period. You literally can change them with your mind and your words. Does it sound crazy? Try it. If it sounds crazy, go for it. Because you're a magical creator and a magical being. It starts with you. I promise you. I promise you. Please trust me on that one.
We will trust you on that one, Scott. So, hey, guys, we are an hour and 15 minutes into this excellent conversation. I could literally sit here for hours and talk with you guys, but out of respect for the amazing guests that we have here on our community thread, thank you guys so much for being here. What are some final thoughts to take us out of this conversation that can really, you know, we've said the word simple a few times, and I think that's key, because I tell people that life is simple, stop fucking complicating it, because we do. We complicate it with our opinions and our assumptions and our judgments and our pontifications and our quest to figure out what the truth is about something that happened 30 years ago. What are your final thoughts to help people like really digest what we've said here today and encapsulate the fact that, you know, we're all beautiful people, we're all, you know, entitled and deserve, I think that's one of the most important words, deserve to love ourselves and to give ourselves the opportunity to have the growth and to have the experiences and to have the risk, as you said, Patricia, to leap and to gain that clarity, to find that peace. I mean, that's something that's crazy, because all my life I've been a hard charger, and now I'm like struggling to find peace so I can be a hard charger in a different way, not be a hard charger as a survivor, but now be a hard charger as a thriver. So what do you guys think can help people to take us out of this conversation and end this beautiful show? Because you guys have all been massive. Everybody here in the comments, I mean, I'm so overwhelmed and blessed by Glenda and Cindy and Ellie and Samuel and Chad and Serena and my buddy Bill Lindsay on here. I hope, Bill, are you still on here? You better comment. Bill Lindsay is an amazing mind. We got to get him on this show. He would totally gel with everybody, because he sits there, and the thread that connects us all as human is a warm feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was what I was talking about. Just make somebody feel good. Bill is a guy I worked with for years. He is an amazing intellect. A person needs to feel good looking at the reflection. You know, it's so crazy. Chad's been on here. We can't thank you guys enough for being a part of this community and being a part of this episode. Ellie says, you know, accept yourself. Really, where you're at and what you're doing. That's so. I mean, Ellie, thank you so much for being here and sharing this. Angie says, Angie's the one. Angie Smith, forgive yourself. Oh,
Chris,
Jesus Christ.
They're literally doing the whole fear model.
We could do the whole fear model.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? What do you guys think that based on your interaction in this conversation, the interaction we've had with the people, how can we take this out and give them the best value possible? Patricia, go first.
All right. I think every single person is your teacher.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Every circumstance, condition, situation, everybody brings something to the table, good or bad. So if you're with people who are absolutely, you know, destructive, they are teaching you what you shouldn't do. And the opposite is equally the same. If you're really with beautiful, like this evening, you know, all of the guests, I mean, there's such a synergy. Everything that, you know, we've been talking about is uplifting, and it's giving us an opportunity to say, you know, what I see in you that I like is what I might like in myself. What I see in you that I don't like is what I don't like in myself. So we are exactly reflections and mirrors. But if we consider everybody to be our teacher, then we have our absolutely greatest lessons in front of us. And my final word, which I use in everything, is it's kindness. It's simply recognize that being kind is much, much easier, and it's much more accepted, and, you know, it can resolve issues so quickly. So I think for anybody listening, if you've had to deal with somebody today and you know, you were really, you know, biting at the bit, or it wasn't going in the way that you wanted it to, just resolve that and say, man alive, they were my teacher today, and I just want to give them back love and kindness, and really hope that whatever it is that's happened to them shifts or changes. You know, stop thinking that everything is You know, our egos are so big that we think everything is always about us. So we got to stop that. Yeah. Kindness is my ending word.
Well, Patricia, you are the epitome of kindness and beauty and elegance and brilliance. Seriously, can't thank you enough for being on the show. You guys, I mean, seriously, we have to make this more of a regular routine because, you know, having special guests is one thing, but having a core group of people who really get each other and are able to riff like this is something that's beautiful. And I truly appreciate everything. Ellie says, I strongly agree, Patricia. I usually cut people who don't serve me right. I love people who are balanced minded and clear headed. Yeah. And in that situation, I've even learned, because I used to be an angry person. I used to be a resentful person. Like I will punish you. I will kill you. I will destroy you. And now I just send love. And it's not even a weird, like fluffy bullshit love. Like I say, it's like, I wish you the best on your journey. I mean, when I parted ways with my sister back in 2005 for the second time, I'm like, I wish you well, Maria. I hope you have a great journey. I hope you have a great life. I hope that you figure out what it is that you need to figure out, but it's not going to be with me. And I wish you love. And I sent it with true compassion. I mean, sometimes you just have to send people on their way. One thing I got to say about Thomas said, yes, Thomas, I don't know if you saw this earlier, but Thomas, we send you love and hope and peace and safety where you're at up in Santa Cruz. So we said that at the beginning of the broadcast. So just want to acknowledge you. Thank you for being here, brother. And I have a bone to pick with you later on that Scott shared with me about the show you were on with us. So Pamela, what are your final thoughts, my beautiful friend? My beautiful friend. What are your final thoughts?
I mean, I don't know how to add to what Patricia said because she's just so spot on. And I think the thing that resonated with me, especially, is just that self-compassion. You know, just really knowing that it's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to allow yourself to not have all the answers, to need time to expand, to, you know, to not understand some of these ideas, and to just know that you're on the journey, that by asking the question, you're already on the journey. And just, you know, by learning to allow yourself to take that journey, you're going to allow others to take their journey.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Last but not least, Mr. Goyette, thoughts, opinions?
Thanks, Christopher Rausch.
Well, I got to put this. He says he's ready for me. I'm not sure what to mean by that, Thomas, but yeah.
I know what he means. We're in trouble.
It sounds like a challenge.
Hey, hold on real quick. I would like to do something really awkward because I love awkward.
Okay.
Thomas, this is my good friend Pamela Aubrey. She's single.
I know you didn't.
and Thomas, I'm just throwing it out there because she's a beautiful human being. And when I see two beautiful, look at her.
She's beautiful.
Thomas, you're one of my other beautiful friends. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, would you guys like me to wrap things up?
Great.
Now that it's really awkward.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you for that.
So here's what I would like to finish up. I thought it was beautiful that somebody threw in and said, you know, forgive yourself, and then forgive yourself and forgive others. And I thought it was also equally beautiful that somebody said, accept yourself, because we have to accept ourselves and others where we're at in our journey. And I think that's wonderful. And those are two components of the fear model of what Chris and I are going to be doing in our coaching platform. Is we're going to be getting people to drop off the baggage that holds them down. Cupid Scott, thank you, Thomas. So we're trying to get people to eliminate that baggage that's holding in the back, and then first and foremost to see your truest self, or see your higher self, universe, God, whatever you want to call it. We're going to help you wipe down those distortions in your senses, and that would be listen, observe, voice, and empathize. So you guys were actually noticing the things that came to you. Everybody's going to have a different experience in a program like this because we don't specifically know which sense is the most distorted, and we're going to find that out through that process. So it's exciting for Chris and I to see you guys come on board and share the things that you're thinking and that you're seeing. And what we want to do is we really want to serve you in helping you max out this journey and live this journey in a way that you find your brilliance earlier than later, and start creating those verbs and living those verbs as a teacher, a listener, a lover, somebody in laughter. We want you to start maxing that out now so that you don't waste time, because you deserve it. So I want to finish with that. Our guests are incredible. I love the masculine feminine dynamic we have. I do want more of that because I don't know, me and Chris get annoying after a while. We need some part. Can I say
plus we're prettier than he
smart
is.
woman on here, you know?
Yes.
So, but I was raised by a woman, so I got a little of that feminine in me. So
yeah, well, I mean, I have a lot of feminine in me. I still have earrings. You guys can't see them, but I still have the earrings from when I pierced my ears when I was 13.
I have two. Anyways,
Ellie says, I have a question for Chris and Scott. Interesting. Did you love yourself before this journey or no, and why?
No.
Holy crap, no. No, I didn't know what love was. I was told I was a piece of shit. I was told I was stupid. I was bullied by kids. I was bullied by my mom. It took actually, and I think we said it before. I think somebody said it earlier. There's been so many shows this week. Is the fact that, you have to realize to love yourself and to not necessarily accept the opinions of others as negative, but at the same time, like for me, I had to believe in my mentor. My mentor, Bill White, says, Chris, why don't you go back to school? Chris, why don't you go to college? I'm like, dude, I've been out of school since the 7th grade. I mean, he's like, no, you got to do it. So I had somebody believe in me, and I was like, I had to believe in their belief enough to go do it. Same thing last year with my coach, Sally. She's like, Chris, you got to do this. You got to do this. You're meant for all of this. You got to get out of that corporate job. You have to get out of that think. You have to get out of that safety and that comfort zone. And again, jumped and did that. So, to answer your question, Ellie, no, I didn't have love for myself, but the people I surrounded myself with, because I did make that hard decision to get away from people who weren't loving me, including my mom. I had to step away from my mom and leave her in a bad place. I had to go do some things and take some big risks and do a lot of stuff. But then I learned how to love myself. I'm like, wow, if you love yourself, there's actually some opportunities out there and people will dig you too. And, that's the thing that I did my show on Tuesday night was facing the truth. And facing the truth is the fact that if you're not loving yourself, how can you expect so many other people to love you and support you anyway? So it starts with that self-love and that self-compassion. So that's my answer to that question. Scott, what do you think?
I'll do it quick because I already wrapped up. Very simply put, I did not love myself. I would have called Go Love Now the most fluffy bullshit I've ever heard of in my entire life. I would have told all you guys are ridiculous and you're weak. And then I grew up. And here I am. And so Go Love Now spawned out of my self-love and my development of myself. And that came from the universe for me to share with all of you. And that's what I'm doing. And I believe in it tenfold, so I'm living it. And it's that simple. And it's a beautiful part of the journey to lack self-love and then fall in love with yourself. And I like my hair too, so I'm really falling in love with myself.
Hey, let's focus a little energy right now. I don't know how to do it, but let's focus on love. Let's focus love on Glenda. I had an opportunity to talk to Glenda earlier this week. Glenda is a massive supporter of the shows. Glenda has been phenomenal. We send you love, Glenda. We send you confidence. We send you the power to be who you're going to be and to continue the journey you've been on. You are miraculous. You are phenomenal. You have been showing up. You do Facebook Lives. You reached out to me and talked to me. You are on your journey, and us four here are sending you so much love and light that I hope it overpowers you in the fact that you're a brilliant person. You're a great person. You're a soul that's supposed to be on this earth, sharing your gifts. Do not limit that. Do not stop that.
And I'd like to add something very simple. Whatever you're hearing us say that you like, realize we're nothing more than a mirror. What we're saying right now is if you're sitting here going, oh my goodness, that thing they said was so beautiful, that's just a reflection of you. I promise you. So whatever you liked about us is really just what you love in yourself, and keep loving yourself.
Brilliant. All right. I love you guys, but now I have to go solo screen. I get to go solo screen. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, an hour and 28 minutes of sheer brilliance. And I promised you that when I said 5 powerful minds, 1 dynamic conversation. Unfortunately, Mitzi wasn't able to be with us tonight. She had an unfortunate situation come up, and we wish her well. But, between myself, Patricia, Pamela, and Scott, I hope that you really took this to heart and you really took notes and said, what are some actionable items that I can take from this and implement in my life today? And one of those simple actions is say, I love myself. Just say that and feel that. I love me. I love who I am. I love discovering who I am. I love the journey of being alive and being physical in this manifestation of a human body. That sounds weird for me to say. Just being honest. What is it that you're going to do? What is it you're going to take the responsibility for? I wrote down a bunch of words tonight, and one of them was choice. And I think that's one of the most powerful opportunities that we have as humans, is that we have the power to choose, literally choose. I can choose right now to be happy, or I can choose to be mad. I could choose to look at what's pissing me off, or I could choose to what's lifting me up. I can choose to be around people who support me, who cause me to grow bigger and better and tell me the truth. Or I can choose to be around people who say, Chris, you're the greatest guy ever. And I've been in those groups. I've been the smartest person in the group. I've been the biggest person in the group. And that feels great. But at the same time, that does not push you to become stronger. So you have the choice. You have the choice to whether or not you wake up in the morning and say, wow, today's going to be a fucking great day. I'm so blessed and thankful to have all these great, amazing things in my life. I could go turn the shower on and have hot water. I could turn the light on and have light. You know, I can go get my car and go get groceries. I can go do all these amazing things. Or you could wake up tomorrow and go, oh, Jesus Christ, what's going on with COVID? Do I have to wear a fucking mask today? What's going on with the elections? Oh my God, I can't wait until so-and-so wins. You know, however you wake up is your choice. Like I wake up every day and this God's honest truth. God could strike me down right now. Before I open my eyes, I say what I'm grateful for. And many times in the morning, it's the same thing. At night, I say what I'm grateful for the entire day. Like I'm grateful for this conversation that I had tonight. I'm grateful for the conversation I had with Scott. I'm thankful for the Marco Polos I had with Pam earlier. I'm thankful for the people that supported me and wrote me messages. You know, you have the choice to focus on what your end result of your day or your moment is going to be like. And that is the focus that has to be about love. It has to be about acceptance. It has to be about that you're here experiencing life and you're supposed to go through the good times, the bad times, and all those things are all meant to happen for a reason. Again, I don't have to say it how many freaking times, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And it doesn't kill you. You will survive. You will grow. You will prosper. When you jump, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel scary. You're going to feel like, oh my God, what am I doing? But you're living, right? Isn't that the purpose of what it is to be here on this earth, to live, to experience, to journey, to discover, to have amazing moments of euphoria? I mean, why did they invent the climax if it wasn't supposed to be fucking amazing? And at the same time, I banged my knee on the side of my pool today and I thought I broke it. You know, there's different levels of experience in this life. And I'm so blessed and so thankful to have all of you guys here, my amazing co-hosts here tonight. This has truly been a special evening. And we really hope that you guys have benefited from this. But really, I just want to acknowledge everybody. I mean, Thomas, Ellie, all you guys are just freaking amazing. See, I said freaking. I don't have to cuss all the time. You guys are just amazing. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing this conversation. If this conversation impacted you in any way, please share it. And we're not asking you to share it from the standpoint of more numbers and everything else. We want you to share it because maybe you're going to share it with your group. And maybe one person who is having a struggle right now is going to, well, I'll click on it and I'll watch it. And maybe they're going to watch it for 10 minutes and they're going to see something that triggers them. And maybe that one thing is going to make them like, you know what? Today maybe isn't going to be a bad day. You know, so share this, share whatever it is that you come in contact with in your content and every single day that helps lift people up. Stop sharing shit that brings people down, or stop sharing shit that's like, oh, look, everybody agree with me. Here's my thought on this. That's not making the world a better place. You know, you have to have your ultimate legacy. And we talked about that before, is to make sure that you have, that you have that wherewithal, you know, and again, it's about choices. Who are you going to choose to be with? You know, let me ask you this question. I'm going to leave you guys with this question. I want you to answer this honestly, and you don't have to answer it to me, but are you happy with who you are? Are you happy with who you're with? Are you happy with what you're doing? Are you happy with your future? If you're not, then reach out to people who can help you be stronger. Like myself and Scott, we're talking about this group coaching program. You know, you have to make that investment. I would not be here where I'm at today if I had not invested in myself significantly, painfully, credit cards, debt, everything else. My student loans aren't even going to be paid off for another 6 years for my master's degree. I invested in myself and it's worked. You have to invest in yourself. You have to get around the right people. You have to the right perspective. And again, just massive, Samuel says, friggin' is a softer ghetto, softer go-to. Yeah. You know, just thank you so much for being here and being a part of this conversation with us. We love you tremendously, tremendously. That is no bullshit. Scott and I talk about it all the time. We love you. Angel's here. You guys are just magnificent. And we truly, truly, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. And if there's anything we can do for you, literally private message us, let us know what we can do. And we're going to be bringing these shows again, still every single week, Friday nights at 5:00. The engagement, we want your questions. If you have a person that should be a guest on the panel, please send us that information. We want to have more discussions. We want to have more topics that are going to help you grow and become the person that you want to be and experience life in the way that you should, not the way that you are right now. So we love you. We guys hope you have a great weekend. Keep your hearts and minds open for the people who are suffering right now. Try to lift everybody up. Try to do something you can do to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. And we love you. Stay unstoppable, stay kick-ass, stay classy, and we'll see you later.